Hello everybody, this is Mr. Robin. Welcome to episode number 2 of the Dallas Wings, my WNBA franchise here on NBA 2K26, where today we kick off the 2025 season for our Dallas Wings as well as the rest of the WNBA. If you're excited for this one, make sure you drop a like and you subscribe down below, especially if you want more my WNBA content here on the channel as we start this new chapter about to unfold. The Dallas Wings start off their season playing host to the Minnesota Lynx, and what's going to be a new era for the Wings. The Paige Bueckers era starts today, the number 1 overall pick out of UConn. But it is a tough draw because the Lynx went 30-10 last year and lost in the WNBA Finals in 5 games to the Liberty. So they are a very good squad, but we'll see what we can do here at home as we are underway here at the College Park Center with the Lynx winning in the tip. As we'll see what they can do on their first drive, starting off with a 3 from Alana Smith, and it's off the mark. And Paige Bueckers has her first stat. A rebound goes on her card, and we'll see a look at the full possession of both teams to begin as Bueckers inside. And this one is off the mark, and both teams missed their first shot. Later into the first quarter, now 9:20 on the clock, Courtney Williams drives inside. Good defense again, and both teams starting off well defensively. Second possession here for the Wings. Bueckers with it as she tries to drive inside from the midi, and she's off the mark on her first shot. Both teams are still scoreless as we are a minute and a half into the ball game, as this one's inside. Nafisa Collier over to Courtney Williams, a long 2, and she's got the first points of the afternoon. 11 points per game last year for Courtney Williams in that Lynx squad. As Dallas now, they're looking for their first points. Bueckers with it. 6 seconds on the shot clock. She loses it. It's pushed around, and it actually goes out of bounds off the wing. So it's been a tough start for Dallas. I am playing also on default Hall of Fame, so just keep that in mind. As here, this ball's tipped by Collier, and Nafisa Collier, there is the Defensive Player of the Year last year and one of the best players in the league, if not the best, with her first points of the afternoon. 6-0. Bueckers still not on the board, as well as the entire Wings team, as they've struggled to score the ball early, as we're about 3.5 minutes into this game. They don't have a point. Good defense there, but somehow it ends up back in the arms of Williams, and Courtney Williams drills the corner 3, and it's now 9-0, as we're about 4 minutes into this game before Arike Ogunbowale puts the first points on the board for the Dallas Wings. 4-time All-Star is Ogunbowale. I can't wait to watch her pair with Bueckers in that backcourt as she gets them on the board with an and 1. The next drive for the Lynx. This is a nice play by Jessica Shepard, who missed all of last year due to some commitments in Italy. And now the Lynx offense is starting to get going. Beautiful backdoor cut by Heidemann, the starting point guard. Now a 10-point lead. Still looking for the second make of the day for Dallas as Ogunbowale tries to get inside, and she can't hit. And that's the kind of start it's been for Dallas. On the other end, Nafisa Collier would not do anything with this. It's now 13-3 still. 3.5 to go in the first quarter. This one inside as that one is in as Paige Bueckers with a nice pass for Luisa Giselle-Soter, who has never played in the WNBA before this game. Off the mark on the 3 is the Lynx as they try to push the pace, but this one's intercepted by Heidemann. Costly turnover there for Dallas as they find Shepard inside, and she scores with the 2 points. It's now 15-5. 2 minutes to go here in the first quarter. Bueckers with it out to Ogunbowale. She tries to drive right side, pull from the elbow. It's off the mark. Good rebound by Giselle-Soter, but she loses it out of bounds. And, well, that's kind of been the start it has been for Dallas. A very discombobulated offensive quarter. As some of the reserves getting in. McBride off the screen, and she nails a 3. Kayla McBride, a 4-time All-Star herself, coming off the bench here for this Minnesota team. This is how deep the Lynx are. They're arguably the most deep team in the WNBA. Harris on the corner for 3. She hits, and the former Connecticut Sun will get on the board. She was with the Wings for a couple of seasons from 2020 to 2022 back here in Dallas. As Minnesota, though, will answer the corner 3 of their own. Courtney Williams having a hot start to this one. It's now 21-8 as that'll bring us to the end of the first quarter. Minnesota has been all over the board here. Dallas only puts up 8 points in the first frame. Hopefully their offense can get it together. Beginning the second quarter, here's Quinterly driving inside, and J.J. Quinterly, the third-round rookie out of West Virginia, gets the score. As on the drive, here's Nafisa Collier, and this is where Collier starts to really make her name known. She gets the score there. On the next drive for the Wings, here's Yuru, who gets inside, much on the mismatch of Carrington, and she puts it up and in. Expect big things out of Lee Yuru this year. 6'7" from the Sparks last year. As Paige Bueckers drives inside, a good look. She misses the layup, though. Still finding her first points. As Collier on the drive, she spins off of Quinterly, and that's just barbecue chicken in the paint. Napheesa Collier, not many players can defend her. 27-12 now. Quinterly for 3, gets it to rattle in. And the third-round rookie's got 5 points on the night. Here she is again, being matched up with Collier. Tries to step back, can't hit. But Siegrist with the box out, and she will put it up and in. Maddie Siegrist, in her third year now in the league, has yet to really find herself. And then Taisha Harris gets inside and scores, and Dallas is starting to cut into this lead. It's now an 8-point game. But I think Napheesa Collier, she's going to take this personally. There's the mid-range. That connects. Now 29-21. Inside, no chances Siegrist. Collier again shows her dominance. And now it's a 10-point lead. Collier matched on Bueckers. It doesn't matter who. Napheesa Collier is just too big and too strong for these Wings defenders. 36-21 now. Collier bullies her way inside. Completely removes Diamond Miller out of the way. And she has 14 points on the evening now. All of a sudden, it's 40-21. A beautiful pass inside and an and one. And Minnesota would go on a 15-0 run to end the second quarter and end the first half. All of a sudden, it is a 24-point lead for the Lynx, as Dallas did score the ball a little bit better here in the second quarter, but still not enough. 56% from the field for the Lynx, 31% for the Wings. As you can see, Napheesa Collier, the top performer by far from both teams. 14.6 rebounds, 3 assists. I will say, going into the second half, I did move it down to Superstar just to see how that would play. So keep that in mind as we go into the second half, but it won't stop us from turning the basketball over, as that one's picked off. And on the other end, Napheesa Collier out wide. That one's actually not corralled by Heidemann. So Dallas will push the pace themselves. Bueckers tries to get inside, but then she loses the ball. It's just kind of chaos right now, as both teams just playing butterfingers with the basketball. Ogunbowale ends up with it. She tries to drive inside, kick it out to Diamond Miller in the corner, but she can't connect. And it doesn't seem like the offense is going to wake up. Smith in the corner for the Lynx. She will miss. This ball's tipped out. Williams somehow saves it to Collier, who comes down with it. Back to Courtney Williams at the top of the key. Over to Shepard on the right side. Back to Collier being guarded by Ogunbowale. That's a mismatch, and she will score on the circus play. That possession was just all sorts of cheese, if I'm being honest. 47-21 now. Hines Allen on the post, and, well, that looks awkward, and that's a miss. And Dallas has just not been able to score consistently. Nice interception by Ogunbowale. Finds Bueckers over to Hines Allen. Ogunbowale with the floater, and she rolls it off with a soft touch. Nice play there by Arike Ogunbowale. Also an Iron Woman, averaged 38 minutes per game last year. And speaking of Iron Women, Napheesa Collier again just has her way inside. 18 points. She's only missed like 2 shots up to this point. Dallas will call a timeout. It's now 49-23. As Bueckers with it on the left side, still searching for her first points, and she will get it here. Hits the 3 ball. It took to the 7.5 minute mark in the third quarter, but Paige Bueckers has her first WNBA points. Napheesa Collier has plenty of points as she gets 2 more there. It's now 53-26 as there's a nice turnover forced. We'll see what Dallas can do with it on the other end. Ogunbowale for 3, and she gets it to go. Okay, that's a nice sequence there. It's 53-29 now, a 24-point deficit still. As inside for Shepard, and she gets it up and in. The interior defense for the Dallas Wings has just not been very good today. Minnesota's dominated inside the paint, and I feel like that's just going to be a weakness for this team. Much better in the backcourt, but struggling on the front court, as there's 2 more for Courtney Williams. Invites the contact and still finishes. Bueckers drives inside. She gets an and one. They get Natisha Heidemann on the foul, and Bueckers would make the free throw. Here she is corralling the interception off of a tip from Ogunbowale. And Bueckers tries to find Siegrist inside, but just bad communication there. Not sure why Siegrist didn't cut and give Bueckers the angle. And instead it leads to 2 points by Heidemann on the other end. 60-32 now. Here's Yuru back with it inside. And there is that mismatch that we need to exploit more often. If she can score consistently, Uru could be a great player in this rotation, as there's a tray ball for Ariko Ogunbowale, and all of a sudden the offense is starting to make some noise, but Dejanay Carrington would answer right back with a 3 of her own, the most improved player from last year, and it's now 63-39 after 3 quarters, a 24-point lead for Minnesota. This one's kind of seeming all but over, if we're being honest, so we'll go a little bit quicker through the fourth quarter. Here we are halfway through, and Dallas has not scored a fourth quarter point. Ice cold goes the offense. Bueckers tries to change that from the mid-range, and she does. Kisses it off the glass. She's starting to find her footing. It took a while, but at least she's starting to find some rhythm. Ogunbowale now from the mid-range. She'll get it to go. It's now 71-46. And honestly, that'll do it for this one. The final score, 75-46. Minnesota will win this one on opening night. And what was also the opening for the WNBA's Commissioner Cup in-season tournament. So, not a good start if you're Dallas. You lose in pretty emphatic fashion, and you lose your first Commissioner Cup game. As Minnesota just looked like the better team. They are the better team, and, well, they played like it. As far as leaders, Ogunbowale had 13 for us. Although nobody stood out for us offensively, I feel like she definitely played the best. Paige Bueckers, 10 points, all in the second half, so that was at least a positive. She just got off to such a slow start. But we just could not stop Napheesa Collier and company. She put up 24 and 11, 10 for Williams, and the Lynx dominate. Other scores on opening night, the Liberty beat the Aces 74-56. That's not a good look for Las Vegas, only putting up 56. But the defending champs start off 1-0. And then the Sky win against the Fever, 83-81. Caitlin Clark, 12. While Angel Reese only had 5 points, but 12 rebounds. And they win their latest chapter in that rivalry. As you can look at some of the other scores around the WNBA on the first week. As we get ready for our next matchup against the Seattle Storm, who also lost. And they got blown out in their first game of the season. So hopefully we can beat them. But they have some talent, especially at the top end of their lineup. And so we'll stay at home here for the second game of the season, the second game of the WNBA Commissioner's Cup, as both teams who got blown out in their first games, the Seattle Storm and the Dallas Wings, will do battle here tonight. The Storm last year were a pretty decent team, going 25-15, but they lost in the first round of the playoffs. They got beat in game 1 by the Mercury, 95-61, so we'll see what this team's all about. They are built, I think, to win now. So a lot like the Lynx, who we saw in the first game. Also, I have moved this one back up to Hall of Fame just to kind of see how it does against this team. So we'll jump right into the action. Get ready for this one here. The College Park Center here. The lineup: Skylar Diggins, Brittany Sykes. We'll see it: Gabby Williams, Nneka Ogwumike, and Ezi Magdabor. The starting 5 for the Storm, while the same 5 for the Wings will join the court. I will also say I did get the volume back for this episode. Sorry about that in this game. So sorry about that in the first game. But we're here for the tip. It is won by the Storm, and we are underway for game number 2 of the season. Is on the first possession for the Storm. It's some sloppy ball movement, and it's a missed shot, but Magdamore gets the miss, and she would put it back for 2. Ezi Magdamore had 12 points in the first game for Seattle. As here's the first possession for the Wings. A mid-range for Paige does not go. And hopefully this is not the same start that we saw in the first game of the season, but it's kind of seeming like it. The offense seems kind of stagnant. Hines Allen draws a double, so somebody's open. They can't find him, and it's going to be a shot clock violation. So again, Dallas's offense seems to be getting off to a slow start. Still 2-0, but Magdamore will score the points, and she's got 4. All 4 points on the day for either team. 3 ball for Paige does not go, and this one's off the mark. 2 minutes in, Dallas is still looking for their first point, and beautiful transition offense for the Storm. They find Brittany Sykes to form Mystique on the layup. There's the first shot of the day. Goes in by Diamond Miller. She gets the friendly bounce. So 6-2 now. Ogwumike inside, and the 2016 WNBA MVP will start to find her way. Finds a 2 there. Miller in the corner for 3 does go, so we're back to a 1-possession game as Diamond Miller has all 5 points for the Wings. There's a nice mid-ranger on the other end, though, for the Storm, who are 5 for 8 in the early portions of this one. Ogunbowale gets blocked from behind. We'll say it's a shooting foul on Skylar Diggins. So she would make both of our free throws. And then Paige Bueckers nails from 3, and all of a sudden it's only a 2-point game. But both teams will go cold for a couple minutes. Here's a miss, tipped out. Gabby Williams on the offensive board. Ogwumike for 3 missed. But Magdabor gets the rebound and she puts it in. The Storm offensive rebounds in the early portion of this game were on full display. They were dominating us in the paint, including this basket by Ogumake inside. And then here's Williams for three. It's a miss. But Magdebor again gets it, and she puts it in, just putting on a show in the paint. Clearly a weakness for this Wings team, as here's a nice shot by Ogunbowale. Cuts it back within 6. All that said, it's only a 6-point deficit here. But again, an offensive board and a putback and an and one for Ezi Magdebor, as she puts it in for 2. 21-12 now, thanks to all the offensive rebounds for the Storm, as Paige fades to her left and gets a friendly bounce off the front of the rim. Cuts it within 7, and that'll bring us to the end of the first quarter. 24-14 your score. The Wings got to somehow stop the Storm in the paint. Not sure how they're going to do that. We need some play from Miller and Uru to dominate the inside part of this game. This is 24-14 as we head to the second quarter. First possession, some of the backups are in, but Paige is still in, and she gets position on the post, and she puts it in. A lot better start for the number 1 overall pick this game, as there's a beautiful pick and roll, as that one's put in by Dominique Malonga, the number 2 overall pick in this year's draft. So you got the number 1 and the number 2 going at it, and she's starting to find her footing. She had 5 points in the debut, and she had 4 points already in back-to-back possessions. Gets a rebound here. She's got 6. Beautiful hustle there. Again, just dominating in the paint are the Storm, as Bueckers misses the layup. It's kind of been a problem for this team as they've gone ice cold. She's only 3 for 10 from the field today. On the other end, Malonga puts it up. It's off the mark. Rebounded by Segrist. And it stays 32-16, but a bad pass from Taisha Harris to Horston, and Jordan Horston will finish easily on the other end. The Wings have to call a timeout. This one's starting to get ugly, I must say. There's 4:40 to go in the second half. Miller with a step back. It's off the mark. We got 16 points, and we are 14 minutes into this game. Ogunbowale's turn. Brick. Seems like I'm going to have to readjust some sliders because this team is throwing nothing but bricks with a lot of open looks off of our best guards. Ogunbowale is 1 for 6 with 4 points at this point in the game. Here she gets by her defender. Mid-range is good, so there's her second bucket of the afternoon. As we'll go to the end of the first half, 42-20 your score. The Storm have stormed out in front, pun definitely intended, by a 22-point lead as we head to the halftime break. We just had no answer for the inside. I feel like we've been playing pretty decent defense, but we've been getting killed on the glass. 27-13 is the rebound advantage. Our top player has 0 points apparently, which is not good. But Ezi Magdebor with 15 and 12, and we're only at the halftime break. So hopefully we can come out in the second half and play a little bit better, as here's Paige dribbling up the courts for the first possession of the third quarter as she tries to go against Skylar Diggins, a very good defender. Finds Ogunbowale in the corner, and, well, there's a 3-second in the paint. And that's not how you want to start the second half. First drive here for the Storm. It's a long 2, and Ogunbowale will knock it through. Cannot leave the former MVP wide open. She will hit that shot. Hines Allen gets inside. Beautiful look, but she misses. And again, we just continue to just not be able to find the basket. But there's a beautiful block. Nice job inside. That was the center, Luisa Gisa-Solder, with it. And on the other end, Paige puts it in for 2. We need more plays like that. Some defense that leads to offense. Ogunbowale now from 3. That one's off the mark again. Storm have doubled up the Wings up to this point. Going inside for Hines Allen, who somehow ends up with the ball. But she misses a wide open layup. There's no way that bucket should be missed. On the other end, the Storm will score with ease, and, well, the Wings will have to call a timeout. It is now a 24-point lead for the Storm with 6 minutes to go in the third quarter. Hines Allen for 3 off the mark. Magdebor boxes out Ogunbowale with ease. Ogunbowale should not be in the paint trying to be the one that gets the rebounds. There's a beautiful 3 in the corner for number 20. That's Brittany Sykes. And it's now 49-22. Ogunbowale meshed up with Ogumake. That is barbecue chicken all day. That's an and one. 51-22. Now we'll go a little bit deeper into this one, as this one's kind of turned into a rout. Only 26 points. There's an illegal screen at this point. I kind of had enough. So we went to the end of this game. Final score, 95 points for the Storm, while the Wings got beat by 30+. So safe to say that Hall of Fame is not going to be the difficulty we play on in this series, so don't worry about more games like this. I just kind of wanted to use these first 2 games as kind of a tester to see where we are at in terms of gameplay. And now that I know, there's definitely some changes we could make. So expect that in the next episode. Other scores around the league, the Aces beat the Sun, and then the Dream beat the Fever by 6. So Indiana starts off 0-2. That's a big win for Atlanta. On the next day, we'll see that our field goal percentage is at 33%. So yeah, definitely need to do something to kind of bump that up. We do beat the Lynx to get our first win of the season, 86-67. Despite a double-double from Collier, Paige puts up 22, an early career high for the number 1 pick. Other scores on today is the Mystiques beat the Valkyries by 30, and then a close game goes the way of the Sparks, 78-76. That'll help their Commissioner Cup standings. The Dream dominate the Fever again, 0-3 start for Indiana, while the defending champion Liberty will start off 2-0. And then on the next day, a lot of action. The Lynx beat the Sun. They seem like the worst team by far. Early on, the Sparks dominate the Valkyries. The Aces dominate the Mystiques by 51 points, and the Storm beat the Mercury. We do get an injury in our next game against the Dream, where Gisa Soler will break her leg 6 to 8 weeks as we start to sim a couple of games in between our Commissioner Cup games. And we lose this one 90-54. So at least it's not just me who can't score for this team. The sim can't either. But Paige again leads the way with 20. In order to fill in the spot for Gisa Soler, we'll put Yuru into the starting lineup at the 5. I think she deserves to be in the starting lineup, so we'll see how she does. Fever gets their first one of the season. They beat the Liberty 93-83, and then some other action. The Dream 5-0 starts, dominate the Sun. The Sparks get another close victory, this time over the Sky. Mercury get back in the win column over the Mystiques, and the Aces will beat the Storm in Seattle. And that'll take us to our next game. In the next episode, we will travel to face the 0-4 Connecticut Sun. And I want to play this game because, one, we get a chance to play a bad team because I knew the first 2 games were going to be tough. But now we have a chance to see how we stack up against one of the league's worst. And this is Paige's return to the state of Connecticut, where she spent her collegiate career. So I want to see that one. And we'll start to get up to the Commissioner Cup second portion of the regular season games in the next episode. But thank you guys so much for watching this one. Not all games are going to be blowouts like that, so I apologize for the scores, but kind of had to gauge where we are right now. And we'll see if we can tighten up those sliders and tighten up the gameplay for some more competitive action as we get deeper into this series. But I hope you guys enjoyed. I cannot wait to bring more of this to you guys in the further months. But thank you guys for watching again. If you enjoyed, make sure you drop that like and you subscribe down below, especially if you want more franchise content. This is Mr. Rob. I'll see you in the next one.